We're kicking off today with Smackdown as the Motor City Machine Guns had their second and third WWE matches this week from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. In their first match, the Guns defeated DIY to become the #1 contenders for the tag titles and were confronted by the Bloodline after the match. Solo Sikoa welcomed Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley to SmackDown before demanding the Brooklyn crowd acknowledge him, which only earned him a chorus of boos. Sabin said they were ready to take the titles anytime, any place, and Sikoa suggested having the match right now, and general manager Nick Aldis made the bout official. When Solo got on the apron to interfere in the match, Jimmy Uso appeared from the crowd to take him out, as well as Jacob Fatu, who was also at ringside. Roman Reigns' music then hit and he charged down to the ring, while Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, as well as Sabin and Shelley, were laid out in the ring. When the ref was taken down, the champs looked to capitalize by throwing chairs in the ring, but a hooded figure jumped the barricade and took out Loa before a super kick to Tonga. The figure then hit Tonga with a chair before delivering a spear and revealed himself to be Jey Uso, and this allowed for Sabin and Shelley to hit Skull and Bones on Loa for the win. The match itself was kind of a mess, but it was a lot of fun and gave fans a surprising title change, and anytime WWE can surprise fans, it's almost always a good thing. After the new champs left the ring, Jimmy and Jay found themselves alone inside it, and after a few moments, the pair embraced, much to the delight of the Brooklyn crowd. Reigns stood at the top of the ramp watching as they reunited and left him out of the fold, ending SmackDown on an emotional and intriguing cliffhanger. The crowd in Brooklyn didn't have to wait a week to see the development in this angle, as the November 1st episode of SmackDown was taped last night. That's because WWE will be heading to Saudi Arabia next week for Crown Jewel, and if you don't want to be spoiled, skip the next 2 minutes of this video. In the second taping of the night, Jimmy and Roman Reigns came out for a promo, and Uso asked Reigns to squash his issues with Jey, saying that he has already made peace. Jimmy warned that if they're not united, they would lose at Crown Jewel, but before Reigns responded, Jey Uso interrupted and spoke of his interference in the tag title match. Jey admitted that he took the fight to get back at Solo and acknowledged that the family wasn't fully healed and that it was difficult to stand in the ring with them after all that's happened. Jey spoke of the physical, emotional, and mental pain inflicted upon him, but still showed up because, as he put it, that's what family does. As Reigns listened silently, Jey declared himself Roman's equal and said that if the three of them can stand as equals, they'll be running things like they used to. Jey also warned that if he was disrespected, he'd be gone, and told Roman to either act like family and stand together at Crown Jewel, or walk away. Roman then took the mic, paused for a moment, and simply said, "Yeet," as all three raised their arms in solidarity, standing as a unified front against Solo Sikoa. The Bloodline saga continues, and with War Games approaching in Survivor Series in November, time will tell if the three men can stay united as they prepare for battle in the double cage. But what do you think? Do you think the trio of Reigns and the Usos can stay united, or will the friction in the faction lead to a defeat? Do you think the Bloodline saga is heading towards War Games? What do you think will happen at Crown Jewel? Share your thoughts on all of these questions down in the comments. Fans were thrilled to see the Usos embrace on this week's SmackDown, and Paul Heyman took notice of the reunion as he shared a video of their reconciliation on social media. Heyman was ousted from the Bloodline back in June, and rumors continue to circulate about his return, and the Wise Man is keeping a close eye on what's unfolding in the Bloodline saga. With WWE Crown Jewel fast approaching, the card for WWE's next Saudi Arabia-based PLE is coming along, and on this week's SmackDown, a major title match was made. WWE's three GMs, Nick Aldis, Adam Pearce, and Ava, were on hand to make a fatal four-way tag team match official for Crown Jewel, one that'll see the women's tag team titles on the line. Damage Control, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, and Lash legend and Jakara Jackson were initially approached by all three GMs to gauge how much they wanted a title shot. The group was joined by Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill, who were confident, with Cargill challenging the three teams, saying, "If you ladies want to shoot your shot, here's your chance." The match will be Belair and Cargill's fifth title defense since regaining the titles from the Unholy Union at Bash in Berlin, and comes after the champs already beat Damage Control on Raw. Belair and Cargill also recently bested Legend and Jackson on SmackDown, but to date, the Storm and the EST have yet to put the titles on the line against Green and Niven. With that said, Belair and Cargill did defeat the pair in non-title action on the April 12th SmackDown, but will the numbers prove too much for the champs? Time will tell. Randy Orton kicked off SmackDown with a clear mission to try and get the match with Kevin Owens that he was told last week by Nick Aldis couldn't be booked. Orton made his way backstage, but paused in Gorilla to approach Triple H, who told the Viper to go to the ring, which he did. There, Orton called out Triple H and said that the game wouldn't make the match because he was protecting Owens, but Triple H saw things very differently. He said he wasn't booking the match to protect Orton, and spoke of Randy's 18-month hiatus from which he returned from less than a year ago. Triple H feared that the match would be Orton's last given how aggressive Owens can be, but after Orton begged and the crowd sided with the Viper, the game made the match official. Orton vs. Owens is now set for WWE Crown Jewel on November 2nd, and we'll have to see if this match is one that the Legend Killer regrets asking for. Are you excited for this match, or should it have been saved for another show? Who do you want to see getting the win in Riyadh? Share your thoughts and predictions down below. Kevin Owens vs. Randy Orton will be a huge match for the stacked card at Crown Jewel, and by announcing it, Triple H has broken an unwritten rule regarding premium live events. With this match, Crown Jewel now has 6 matches announced, breaking from WWE's recent trend of having 5 match cards for its big events. As for why this rule has been broken, it's unclear, though what we do know is that fans in Riyadh will have a stacked show next week at the Mohammed Abdo Arena. Before exiting WWE in 2009 to unsuccessfully run for US Senate, Linda McMahon held significant positions in the company, including as president and CEO. Still today, McMahon remains a controversial figure in professional wrestling as well, and it appears she has now been accused of being the mastermind behind cover-ups. In case you weren't aware, back in 1992, former ring boy Tom Cole accused Mel Phillips and Terry Garvin of inappropriate sexual behavior when he was underage. McMahon initially fired Phillips, but brought him back under the condition that he stay away from children, and Cole also accused Pat Patterson of inappropriate gestures. This resulted in a legal settlement with WWE and was dubbed the Ring Boy Scandal, and Cole would sadly take his own life in 2021. Now this scandal has led to a new lawsuit against WWE, both Vince and Linda McMahon, as well as WWE's parent group TKO Group Holdings Inc. While speaking to Brandon Thurston and Josh Pollock of WrestleNomics, Tom Cole's brother Lee Cole accused Linda McMahon of being involved in covering up the Ring Boy scandal. Cole also claimed that Linda covered up the alleged sexual assault of the late Ashley Massaro, who was allegedly assaulted during a WWE tour in Kuwait. Cole states, "Linda McMahon is the master of the cover-up. What Vince did is Vince walked out of the boardroom that very last day when everybody was meeting there and he said, 'Linda, take over.' Linda took over, Linda was in charge of my brother, Linda was in charge of covering up the Ring Boy scandal. Linda was in charge of going out and finding people, she was part of it, just like she was part of many other cover-ups. Then it went to covering up for Ashley Massaro. This is what they've done over the years." Such accusations are obviously to be taken very seriously, and fans feel this lawsuit will be the one that finally brings down Vince McMahon and others who are associated with so many scandals. The legal team representing the 5 plaintiffs in the new lawsuit have said that those allegedly abused now feel confident enough to speak out, given the changes they've seen in WWE. Those changes include a new regime taking over the company, as well as Vince McMahon stepping down as a result of Janelle Grant's lawsuit filed earlier this year. Do you believe Linda McMahon will face justice after all these accusations made against her? Please share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. Back to SmackDown as WWE Champion Cody Rhodes and World Heavyweight Champion Gunther had an intense face-off in the ring ahead of their showdown at Crown Jewel. Gunther accused Cody of over-dramatizing everything and confidently declared himself the greatest wrestler in WWE today, sharing his goal to win in order to meet his own high standards. Gunther then asked Cody what he truly wants, and Rhodes scoffed at the question, saying it's stupid, and made clear he wants to be there for the fans and honor the legacies of Dusty Rhodes and John Cena. Rhodes added that his fans are proud to embrace the drama, taking a shot at Gunther by asking where he was the previous day, as Rhodes was in Las Vegas doing media rounds. Gunther, according to Rhodes, couldn't be bothered to get out of bed for the same tasks and criticized the Austrian, saying he's missing a crucial part of the job, responsibility. Gunther fired back, saying he understands responsibility perfectly and declared himself WWE's workhorse, adding that he faces the same demands Cody takes on. Gunther said that he has the guts to say no when needed and taunted the American Nightmare because the moment Cody says no, his story ends. The two champions continued trading heated words until Cody finally struck Gunther, which sparked a brawl that saw Ludwig Kaiser emerge to assist his ally. They beat down Cody until Randy Orton stormed the ring, making the save and clearing the ring in an explosive segment that added some tensions towards what we'll see at Crown Jewel. But who do you see winning between Gunther and Cody Rhodes at WWE Crown Jewel? Please share your thoughts and feedback in the comments section below. On this week's Raw, Kairi Sane and Io Sky took on Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, which was set up after a backstage confrontation between the two sides. Morgan and Raquel interrupted a promo segment featuring Sane and Sky, who had been speaking to Jackie Redmond about wanting a shot at Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. It was this interruption that set up the match, and while it ended in a no contest thanks to Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson, there was a unique spot outside of the ring. At one point, Morgan took hold of Sane outside of the ring and planted a kiss on the Japanese star's cheek in an example of mind games from the Women's World Champion. Morgan is looking ahead to Crown Jewel, where she aims to become the first Women's Crown Jewel champion, though Nia Jax looks to put an end to those dreams next week in Saudi Arabia. More from next week's SmackDown, and if you don't want to be spoiled, we recommend skipping the next minute and a half of the video. Nia Jax was on SmackDown and vowed to claim the Women's Crown Jewel title, which prompted Liv Morgan and Dominik Mysterio to come out and confront her. Liv dismissed Jax's ego, saying she thinks she's special but she's not, and Morgan confidently reminded Jax that she knows what it takes to be a champion and win. Morgan said if anyone was going to hold the title, it'll be her, and it was Morgan who got the win the last time the two faced off in the ring. Tiffany Stratton interrupted, declaring that Tiffy time is coming at Crown Jewel and teasing a potential cash-in, but admitted that she hasn't decided who to cash in on yet. Stratton joked that if she cashes in on Liv, will Dominik come with the title, saying she could use a little dirty in her life, but Liv said that Stratton already has enough dirty. The exchange ended with Stratton striking Liv, and Nick Aldis emerged as the ring crew made changes to announce that Stratton and Morgan would go one-on-one right now. Liv Morgan defeated Tiffany Stratton with a pin, but Nia Jax attacked Morgan afterwards, leaving her laid out and sending a message to her opponent for Crown Jewel. As we mentioned, next week's SmackDown was taped in advance due to the logistics of WWE heading to Riyadh, and here's some spoilers for some of next week's matches. As always, if you don't want to be spoiled, this is your official warning, and we suggest skipping the next 30 seconds of this video. In tag team action, Naomi and Bayley defeated Candice LeRae and Indi Hartwell, while the Street Profits with B-Fab in their corner defeated Pretty Deadly. Io Sky defeated Bianca Belair, Piper Niven, and Lash Legend, giving Damage Control the momentum heading into the Fatal 4-Way Tag Title match at Crown Jewel. Now both Carmelo Hayes and Andrade have something to prove in WWE, with Hayes trying to earn a spot on WWE's main roster after his NXT call-up earlier this year. Like Hayes, Andrade is a former NXT champion and has returned to WWE after a lackluster AEW outing, as the booking in Tony Khan's promotion gave him very little to work with. During last week's SmackDown, it was announced that LA Knight would be the guest referee for this week's showdown between the pair, the 7th overall between Andrade and Hayes. The match started quickly, but Knight would continue to get involved as the momentum looked to pick up, and Andrade hit a Spanish Fly and Meteora to score a near fall. Hayes kicking out sent Andrade into Knight, making the referee unavailable to count a roll-up on Andrade, which prompted Hayes to get in the face of the United States champion. Andrade went for a super kick, only to hit Knight with it by mistake, and when Hayes went for a pin later on, Knight pulled him out of the ring and slammed him into the announcer's table. This was followed with BFTs on both competitors, and Knight calling for the bell, declaring that neither man deserves to face him, though that won't be the case. A follow-up segment saw Nick Aldis reprimand the champion for wanting to be the center of attention and announced a triple threat match for the title at Crown Jewel. Will the nature of the stipulation, which means Knight doesn't have to be involved in the decision, result in a new champion? Or will the megastar find a way to retain? Sound off below. On SmackDown, Candice LeRae was looking to stay on Nia Jax's good side, so she took on Naomi, who has been an issue for the women's champion. Nia Jax informed Tiffany Stratton that she arranged for Candice LeRae to take on Naomi on her behalf, teasing that LeRae could have a bigger role to play moving forward. The WWE Women's Speed Champion took control with a wrist lock before Naomi quickly countered, and this was only the second time the pair had shared the ring. It was also the first time they'd been in a singles bout against one another, so you could see them struggling to find their flow a bit early on. The pair picked up the pace and brought more aggression, so the match got better as it went along, and the clunky spots from earlier on were easily forgotten as the energy increased. Indi Hartwell got involved and Bayley ran down to take her out before Naomi used the distraction to get the pinfall victory over the Poison Pixie. Bayley and Naomi celebrated together to end the segment after a match that got better, but as a whole, it left a lot of room to grow. With John Bradshaw Layfield making appearances in multiple promotions this year, it's hardly a surprise that there's been speculation of an in-ring return. The former WWE champion has certainly been delivering clotheslines as devastating as his days in the ring, and now JBL has taken some big steps that could lead to one more match. On Twitter, JBL shared that he has undergone stem cell therapy treatment from the Integrated Pain Management Clinic in New Jersey and is pain-free for the first time in decades. JBL added that he's now able to do things that he hasn't been able to do for years, and addressing a potential comeback, teased that it'll be the biggest since the resurrection. With JBL aiding Nick Nemeth in TNA, all eyes are on tonight's Bound for Glory and a possible appearance by the Texan, and we'll have to see if a match isn't too far behind for him. But who would you like to see step in the ring with JBL if a return to the ring does happen? Share your thoughts on this potential comeback down in the comments. Over to AEW Collision now, as Penelope Ford will take on Robin Renegade on tonight's show in what'll be a huge return to the ring for Ford. This will be Ford's first match in 2 years, and this has been a long journey back to the ring for Ford, who had hip surgery not too long ago after suffering a torn hip labrum. In March 2023, Ford and her husband Kip Sabian also shared that they had experienced a miscarriage, and we're wishing Penelope the absolute best upon her return to action. Despite his greasy mullet and facial hair, Dominik Mysterio is somehow proving to be a Casanova on WWE TV, with lengthy on-screen romances with Rhea Ripley and now Liv Morgan. Earlier this year, though, Mysterio tied the knot for real with his childhood sweetheart Marie Juliette, who isn't worried about her husband's on-screen dalliances. On the Insight podcast, Mysterio shared that Marie has been very cool with his on-screen angles, as she recognizes that they are just part of a story. Reflecting on his first kiss with Liv Morgan, Dom recalled the first text he received after his wife, which wasn't even about the kiss, but rather about a tarantula she found in their garage. Mysterio may be locking lips with women on TV, but his heart is clearly with Marie, no matter what Dirty Dom may say or do each week on WWE programming. On the podcast, Mysterio also spoke about betraying Rhea Ripley at SummerSlam, which was kept a closely guarded secret backstage in WWE. Mysterio explained that he only learned he'd be kissing Morgan at the show about 2 hours before they locked lips, and he did his best to keep it under wraps. Dirty Dom admitted that Finn Balor kinda had an idea as to what was coming, but nobody else knew, and in the moment, he didn't overthink it, and it kind of just happened. Since confirming their romance, Mysterio and Morgan haven't shied away from public displays of affection, but the kiss heard round the world was top secret earlier this year. In June of last year, Bandito suffered a wrist injury during a match with Konosuke Takeshita on Rampage, and his recovery took longer than expected due to complication. After undergoing surgery and a second surgery, AEW had hoped for his return by April 2024, but due to persistent healing issues, that wasn't meant to be. An update in August noted that Bandito was still not cleared to compete, but was progressing well. And now Ibu of WrestlePurist shared that Bandito was backstage at this week's Dynamite. Not only that, but he indicated that he's ready to return to action, and if that's the case, this will inject much-needed excitement into AEW's roster. Bandito's pending return couldn't come at a better time as AEW prepares for several major events, and hopefully it won't be much longer before we see him back in the ring. Now, Mikey Rukus has been part of AEW since 2019 and is responsible for creating some of the promotion's most iconic entrance themes, earning himself praise from both fans and talent. Recently, it was rumored that WWE is searching for fresh talent in their music department, but if that is the case, don't expect Rukus to be jumping to the competition. According to Sean Ross Sapp on Fightful Select, Rukus has signed a new deal with AEW, ensuring his continued involvement in AEW's soundtracks. Are you happy that Rukus is staying with AEW, or would you rather have seen him join WWE? Share your thoughts and your favorite AEW track down below. And we're ending with Kyle Fletcher, who on this week's Dynamite showed just how far he'll go to step out of Will Ospreay's shadow after betraying his former friend at WrestleDream. With Don Callis' encouragement, Fletcher cut his hair during this week's Dynamite while declaring that he's nothing like Ospreay and has now debuted his new look. During media appearances ahead of AEW Collision in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, Fletcher showed his shaved head look and was dressed to the nines in a burgundy suit. This is certainly a different look for Fletcher than the ones fans are accustomed to, and those fans can expect a deeply personal rivalry following Kyle's betrayal of his former friend.